Right. So we're wishing all of you guys a very good evening. On behalf of upGrad Abroad, I welcome you to our webinar on studying in one of Australia's top regional university. I'll introduce myself. I'm Praneet Singh. I'm the head of undergraduate admissions for upGrad Abroad. And at upGrad, one of our sole mission, our sole objective has been to make sure that international education of the highest quality, especially talking from a standpoint of the top 1% universities in the world, that education, that degree, that pursuit of academia of the highest mark is actually becomes more accessible, it becomes more affordable. We make transnational education more easier for you, give you ample time to build your academic readiness, your intellectual maturity, and then you can start your studies on campus. So with that aspiration, our team has been devoted to finding or working with some of the greatest universities in the world, one of which is University of Canberra, which Ms. Upasana Shah is representing in this webinar today. At Canberra, what we're ideally doing is we partnered with them. They fall in the top 1% universities in the world, 170th in the world university rankings, and 16th top young universities in the world. So Canberra has made a huge mark. It is located in the capital of Australia and has the second best employability rate for undergraduates in Australia. So which means studying here is a matter of great prestige, which is why we've got Ms. Shah here today. Ma'am, we welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Praneet. Thank you, Team upGrad. And thank you to all the students for attending and sharing their valuable time with us.
Thanks, Ms. Shah. So we're going to dive into the context right away. So, well, I think, Ms. Shah, so from a perspective of a student wishing to go, abroad for pursuing their UG or PG, and they're looking at the US, Canada, Australia, UK as the main options for the most for us. Why is it that you would recommend studying in Australia? What is it that Australia offers to a student?
Praneet, Australia is, it has its own niche. It is one of the safest countries to live in. It has one of the finest universities in the world. Obviously, as you would have heard, Australian National University, who are our neighbors, they are amongst the world's top rankings. University of Canberra, as you mentioned, is 16th youngest. So it has some great environment. It is an economically sound option. There are various employment opportunities. There are even opportunities for long-term settlement, given that, of course, you meet certain criteria. For Indians, I would say the weather is great. They feel very much at home with that. There is a lot of Indian and South Asian diaspora in Australia, so making it very a multicultural, multiracial sort of a continent. And and Australia, by virtue of its own policies, the way Australia functions, it has been one of their top agendas to make Australia a home for international students. So very welcoming. It's always at the forefront. Student benefits, student welfare is always at the forefront of the Australian community and the Australian government. So I would say it's a very friendly, very student-friendly and very safe destination for students. At this time of COVID, Australia has done some amazing feats in, getting their people vaccinated as quickly as possible, giving access to a lot of healthcare, a lot of mental health support as well. So they've done very well. They've done extremely well. They're already into the third stage of their vaccination. So people are actually now getting triple vaccinated, which includes kids as well. So I think they've done really well also in terms of COVID, in providing a very safe and a very, harmonious environment to everyone all around.
Absolutely. I think talking about Australia being student friendly, I think I'd want to mention to the attendees here that Australia has even waived off to a large extent the need to report on campus. So even if you're studying online, when you're studying from an Australian university, you still get entitled to a large extent to the PSW, the work visa. That's one. The second thing is they've recently cut down on the number of by cut down I mean they've waived off the cap of part-time work hours also. So even as a student, you can work. Um, you could initially work until 40 hours a week, but now they've waived off that cap, and now you can work
Yes. In
unlimited.
certain sectors, yes. So that has been done for a lot of essential sectors, such as hospitality, obviously medical being the primary one. We've had that bang in the middle of COVID in 2020, where almost all of the nursing and paramedical students and medical students were all assisting with healthcare, providers in providing healthcare, and they've extended it now as well to essential sectors, which is a hospitality, supermarkets, a lot of other e-commerce services, which are essential for people's, general day-to-day needs. And of course, a lot of health and counseling and welfare providers as well. So yeah, the 20-hour, 40 hours a fortnight cap has been lifted for those sectors.
Absolutely. I think so. What makes the most amount of sense is that uh, for those of you who were still considering a good Indian private university based on your budgetary concern, now, I mean, with the cap being lifted off, you can actually earn for your academic fee as well to a large extent for the successive years after you once go to Australia.
Yes.
So that's something that, Australia is uniquely known for. They create that comfort. Uh, they create the lucrativeness, the conduciveness for a student internationally to come and sort of build their life from the scratch as a student first and later as a part of the workforce. So with that being said, Misha, uh, one of the things that University of Canberra is highly known for is the diversity of so many different specialized fields that it has, both in business and technology. Would also want the learners to know that with upGrad, you can pick up one of the bachelor track, whether it's business or science, and then eventually Canberra gives you a lot many options to pursue for you to pursue right in your successive years after you complete first year in India with upGrad. So your technology degree can get you into artificial intelligence or robotics or software engineering or IT or Bachelor of Engineering. So many different degrees to choose from. I think business gets you into sports management, into HR
Yes.
management, hospitality, accounting, commerce. So just wanted you to give us a little bit of perspective on what are some of the thriving industries in Australia. If there's a student who's looking at UG or PG in Australia, what are some of the most flourishing, thriving sectors for the Australian economy, Nisha?
Yeah. So, Praneeth, Australia, as you know, is not a very strong manufacturing economy, but what they do have is a lot of soft skill. So there's a lot of consulting, there's a lot of banking, there's a lot of IT, there's a lot of knowledge-based economies that thrive in Australia. And Canberra is a classic example because of two reasons. One, it is the capital of Australia. So the government sectors are heavily dependent on these private sectors for a lot of consulting. That goes into defense, it goes into education, it goes into all the aspects of the government. So the government in a B2B model is a major client for us. I mean, for the industries in Canberra. And for a population size of about 5.5 lakhs, 500,000 approximately, there are more than 25,000 companies, small, medium, and large, based in Canberra. It's a staggering statistic, one that is not comprehensible unless you actually hear of it and you actually experience it. So that is one of the aspects of the economy there. The other thing is that Canberra is on a rise at this moment. The government is not only the state but the federal government both working hand in hand. They are with the view that they want to make Canberra a world-class city and a city for people to aspire to come to. So it's not only just students. We are seeing a lot of permanent residency holders, citizenship holders who are now gravitating to Canberra because of the employment aspect. Now, if you'd allowed me to share my slide for 2 minutes, if I could share my screen, is that
Sure.
okay?
Sure. Yes, I'll just give you the sharing rights also. I think you should have that. Do you?
It's currently disabled.
I've just done that. Uh, just given you rights.
Cool. So I will just, okay.
Also, for everybody else to know, I think Canberra has one of the most highest wages, which Ms. Shah
Yes,
will throw more light on.
I will. Yes. So can you see my screen, Praneeth?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So Praneeth has already talked about some of the amazing rankings, and we can go back to them. But I want to draw your attention to this slide here, because we're speaking of employment right now, and I think this is very, very important. Mm, University of Canberra has always been a university of the professions. That's what we like to call ourselves. So, which essentially means that we fast track your career into into getting the best job possible and possibly the best wages 4 to 6 months within graduating from your degree. Now, if you look here, these are only a select few names of the companies that are located in Canberra. But not only that, in one way or the other, these people are working with us in terms of providing our students with a very real-time work integrated learning experience. So you in during the tenure of your program, you could be doing a short-term project, you could be doing an internship, you could be doing some sort of a temporary placement with these or the many other companies that are located in Canberra and are tied up with us for work integrated learning. So while we're on this employment topic, very important for you to know that Canberra is a place that where you'll find ample opportunity, and we will try to link you up with as many employers as possible in getting you where you want to be. Um, the other thing that we talked about, we can go back to some of the other, but I wanted to talk about wages. Oops, sorry. I think, Praneeth, I'm missing that slide here, but the
Sure.
average wage was $1,800 a week, whereas Australia on an average itself was about 1,600. Yeah, sorry, we have the slide here. I'm sorry. So this is ABS talking, Australian Bureau of Statistics, from where we have taken the wage matrix. Um, ACT sits at the highest, which is $1,908 dollars a week, as against an Australia average of 1,737. So which means you earn more, so therefore you have more money to spend, which means your disposable income is higher in Canberra. So that is something we wanted to talk to you about in terms of um, employability and
Absolutely.
wages in
And I
Canberra.
think two of the strongest reasons to pick the University of Canberra, and Canberra as a location for student, I think one is that because it's a regional part, you get a 3-year work visa instead of a normal 2-year work visa when you study in Sydney, Melbourne. Uh, so that's an added bonus. You get an additional year of post-study work visa. The second thing is Canberra's employability record is super high. As a university and as a place, your average net income is going to be a lot higher. And I think the third one being that Canberra is actually based in the capital, which Ms. Shah rightly mentioned. The government sector is one, it's very lucrative. Two, it's highly open, and third, the demographics are not very dense. They hardly have 500,000 individuals living there, hardly 5 lakhs. I don't think so. If you look at Delhi, only a part of Delhi will have that much living in it alone, just a little part of it. So we're talking about that kind of city, one which is the capital, so which means it's a thriving economy in itself, but two, as somebody who's willing to go to Australia to build his or her future career, that does offer you a lot of ground for growth and building exponentially rising career. Uh, what
Praneeth, I just want to add two things there.
Yep.
So although it's not super relevant at this point, but at master's level, all the regional places, including Canberra, have had an extended year of post-study work. So if you were getting 3 years, you're actually going to get 4. Now, that I know this is the undergraduate crowd, but just to put it out there, because tomorrow it may be a plan for a lot many people to graduate and get into a a master's degree level as well. That is what is currently being done to, again, attraction, and to sort of decentralize the amount of people going into Sydney, Melbourne, and creating opportunities in other parts of Australia as well. It's a conscious effort of the Australian government. And the second thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that the Australian government is consciously investing into Canberra for this sort of a purpose. So as a redundancy, I don't have the slide here, but Australian Bureau of Statistics also says that Canberra is #1 for income, employment, safety, health, and education. So those are the 5 factors in which Canberra is actually a cut above the rest of the cities in Australia.
Absolutely. I think for a student, these 3 or 4 are some of the most pertinent factors when we finally decide for which university, which city, which part of the world should they be studying. And also, I think uh, with Australia relaxing so many different norms and rules for students, it is going to be ideally emerging as one of the top parts of the world to go study. And I think I'd let Upasana talk a little bit more about the campus. I think it is your right to know what is the campus life going to be. That's number one. Number two is that I'll also request Ms. Shah to talk about the extensive amount of student support services that UC normally offers for students, and some of the courses that upGrad has been working with University of Canberra for. And so you can know the extensive or the diverse amount of specialized studies that you can do at the Canberra campus.
Sure. Thank you. So we'll dive right into the USPs of the university. Look, I'm not going to draw this out, but there are 2 very important things for me in this slide. One is on-campus accommodation, and it's guaranteed on-campus accommodation. So if you apply as an international student, you are guaranteed to get a spot. Of course, we have about 15 different options from which you can choose based on the accommodation size, the number of students, and the rates being applicable. You may or may not get that, obviously dependent on demand and supply and order of priority, but you will get a spot. If you look at the rates, now these are pretty cheap, which is $144 a week. And this includes gas, electricity, water, internet. The only thing that it doesn't include is food. But food options are aplenty. They're economical. They are available in campus. They're also available within a very short distance from the campus. So food options are not a big worry, but you actually really save big time on your rent on campus. And when I say on campus, it means you don't need to drive around. It's hardly 5 minutes distance from any block that you might be, any of the buildings where your course or your library or your lectures or your practical labs, wherever, you're not going to be walking more than 5 to 7 minutes when you're on the campus. The second thing, very important there, is UC careers. Now, Praneeth and I were already talking about a lot of industry connect and employment options. More importantly, and you can follow UC careers on Facebook. If you just do UC careers, you'll actually get a Facebook page and you can subscribe to them and you can keep getting updates. UC careers is a department who will be hand-holding you right from the time you enter into the university, because it will not be just about working, about getting a job or about helping you for your placement or work integrated learning, but it's going to be a support system that is going to be with you throughout, in terms of building your resume, in terms of interacting, in terms of peer work, in terms of a lot of other things which are essential for you to get amalgamated into a professional work environment when you walk out. They will be hand-holding you from the beginning. I think for me, that is very important. And our students have found that to be extremely beneficial. And they will also keep you updated on various events, fairs, industry experts coming into the university, either doing lectures or workshops or any sort of activity which is related to the industry. UC Careers will be connected with you, and they will keep supporting you through your journey in UC. The third thing that Praneeth spoke about was student support. Now, student support is just about everything that a student can go to. It could be something as simple as
Just want to check if you're able to hear me at this point. I'm not sure if it's Miss Shah's connection, which is low, or mine. But if you can hear me still, can you just raise your hand once? Not really sure. Yeah, I think so. You guys can hear me. So I think uh, she lost out on her connection. So also, I mean, while she revokes her connection, just wanted to bring your attention to something. I think one of the major reasons why Australia should be picked, and especially the University of Canberra being a regional university, being one of the top 10 in Australia, one of the top 1% universities in the world. The other part is that it offers you a great amount of experiential um, support in your 3 years of education in Australia. So what it means is that even in the third semester and in the fifth semester, you can still go for internships. Normally, what happens is you normally take up an internship in the last semester of your degree, but with UO Canberra, with the University of Canberra, you're entitled to do a work integrated learning, which he was mentioning about, which is called a WIL, which entitles you to go and work off campus in a relevant job profile in one of the University of Canberra's industrial partners like Deloitte, KPMG, so on and so forth. So while she's here, I just
sorry about that. That was my internet. Sorry.
no worries. I was just mentioning to them about WIL, work integrated learning, and how the experiential component of education is taken care of. So you may want to throw some light on that, Ms. Shah. While we have Ashwini asking about PR, so everything is going to be answered. You guys can keep asking uh, your queries, your questions, your doubts on the Q&A button, and I will make sure Upasana and I answer that towards the end. But just at this point, just want Upasana to throw a little bit of more light on WIL and why it is something that is indispensable to your growth, uh, while you are still enrolled in academia.
Sure, sure. So WIL was a concept that was really developed by us because the university is approximately 30 years old. So the concept was developed as, I mean, it's as long as the university was born. It's been there, where the word itself is a very comprehensive one. Work integrated learning means the integration from right from the beginning. So like I said, UC Careers is one aspect of it, where they will handhold you from the beginning. But throughout the course of your program, you will have your faculty interacting, bringing in business, I'm sorry, industry leaders, industrial connect, coming into the university. You will have obviously a mandatory 3 credit point activity that you need to complete in order to get your degree. Your degree would be incomplete without that activity. So that could be, either in the form of a project, a joint project with the industry. It could be internship. Internship is a paid and unpaid one. Obviously, the paid ones are purely merit based. So hence the paid ones are ones which are offered to students which have a very good performance. It is also heavily dependent on the industry. Some people pay, some people don't, depending on how the dynamic is. But there's an internship component that may be offered. There could be a project. There could be some other form of, an industry connect, like somebody doing a temporary placement there, or maybe traveling out of Canberra and working in that particular industry. It could be anything, right? But it would be a 3 credit point um, part of the degree, and your degree wouldn't be complete without it. So I think that is an amazing part. One of the things, like, either the students here again are not so related, but I want to give you an example of, say, health. Now, if you have somebody who does a health, they have a 900-hour mandate, or they have one of those mandates in their degree, and they have to do that component, which is a part of, working in a healthcare facility. So that's what work integrated learning means. Without the work and practical component, you're not able to get through your degree. And so it makes it mandatory for everyone. Although the options, the type of engagement you do can vary, but the engagement would be a mandatory one. That's what I wanted to reinforce here.
Right, absolutely, Upasana. We have somebody asking if there's any entrance examination. So with upGrad, you just need a certain amount of mark criteria to be fulfilled. Uh, as long as you have 50% marks in your grade 12th, you can enter UC, but you have to maintain 7 CGPA to transition to the to the UC campus, on which you also get a 10% scholarship by the University of
Yes.
Canberra. And if you maintain an 8.5 GPA, they'll get a 20% scholarship on your fee at the University of Canberra. Ma'am, please, you may want to take them through the courses. So just to give you a little bit of perspective, for most of the undergraduate aspirants, I think one of the biggest hindrances is that we often feel that we're not really clear about which subject. If we're investing so much money, which subject do I finally pick up, which degree do I finally do, which degree is the most lucrative one. So we allow you to study with us on a simple business track for first year. You study very simple fundamental subjects, and then Canberra allows you to transition on campus in the second year, and you have all the options in the world to switch your degree or to switch your specializations and pick the degree that you finally like. I think Shah is going to take you through it.
Sure. So right now, the two articulations that we have are basically in the IT field and the business field, as Praneeth mentioned. Now, Praneeth, can you see the slide clearly? Okay, awesome. So you can see, as Praneeth highlighted, you can do the first year, which is common for everyone, and that would be at Chandigarh University. The second year onwards, when you come into UC, that's where you get a choice of these 11 different verticals that you could enter. And again, mix and match, swap whenever you like, based on your choices. But as you can see, they cover a very wide array of specialities in there, and which are very practical to the current world. So what we want to highlight here is that these are very dynamic courses. They keep evolving as per the requirement. So practices that were done 10 years ago, nobody's really going to be doing that. You'll basically be doing all of the cutting edge new practices, technologies, and then you can match your course and your your desired career path with whichever one you want to take up. So that's what you do in second year. Just to give you a clarification, what you do in first year, it directly takes you into second year of UC. So it's almost like a diploma that you take from Chandigarh University, and then you get based on the accreditation that we have already established a pathway, you get into the second year. So basically you're doing 3 years altogether, but it's just that the first year in Chandigarh makes it a little easier for you because you're still at home, you're still in India, but yet you are getting the UC experience by doing that. So um, you're getting some sort of insight into what it's going to be like, and you're getting very strong in the first year, so that you're able to transition to the second year. The other thing is the post-study work, which we talked about, which has some really exciting options after your degree is complete. The cutoff for that PSW is 2 years of bachelor's in Australia physically. So that's how coming into Australia in the second year helps you get there, right? So you're completing all the requisite hours of your bachelor degree so that you actually get qualified to enter into the post-study work stream.
Just
Okay.
to add there, I think with you spending your first year for either engineering or business degrees in India, that saves you up to 20 lakhs of rupees in the first year. So your academic fee,
Yes.
your living expenses, more than 20 to 25 lakhs a year first year, instead of paying about 30 to 35,000 Australian dollars as your academic fee, you're just paying 2.5 lakhs. So you save a lot of money. you are also not hastily
Yeah.
transferring from school to the university campus. You have that year, one complete year of building academic maturity, of getting your funds together, getting your academic readiness, like Upasana mentioned, easing into the rigor of studies at Canberra, so that in the second year you're all set for your academic success at campus. So yes, like most of you mentioned, we have technology and engineering degrees as well. I think Ms. Shah is going to just take you through that also.
Yes. So for the students who are entering into the IT space, these are the 5 options we have. I'm sorry. The top one has actually been stopped. It has been merged into the second degree, Bachelor of Engineering Honors. So we actually, there in totality there are these 4 options. um the core difference between the second and the third option is the fourth one is a 4-year program. So that gives you an engineer's degree, which is Engineers Australia accredited and accredited by the Australian Computer Society both. The rest of the degrees are accredited by the Australian Computer Society. They are 3 years in duration, and they are not engineering degrees. Okay. But and the other thing I wanted to highlight is the engineering and the technology courses that we offer are solely in the IT domain. We don't have, for instance, mechanical, electrical, chemical, aeronautical engineering, etc., etc. This is only and only the IT domain, and that's where we specialize. And we have a great faculty who does that. So you're in very, very safe hands.
Uh,
um,
just at this point, we'll also want Ms. Shah to talk about students who are transitioning from either commerce to technology or from a technology to commerce. Um, interest. So if you are a commerce student who is willing to move into the field of technology, you're switching your field, or if you're a technology student, a science student in your grade 12th, and you are looking to transition your key domain and pursue a career in business and commerce, I think Canberra has a very interesting progressive degree called the Bachelor of Business Informatics. I just want Upasana to talk a little bit about that. I think it's important for you guys to know that how is this degree actually the future of the world. It's called a Business Informatics degree. Uh, and this degree is
yep.
actually going to be the fuel of the world in about 3 years. And because it combines business and technology, both it combines data analytics, uh, some of the cutting edge technologies, um, covers the field of business analytics and intelligence. And so everything, um, that I've been talking about is the future of the world. Would just want Ms. Shah to speak about it a little bit.
Yes, of course. So, business informatics. So it's basically, as we all know, we all run on data. So whether it's e-commerce, whether it's education, whether it's what we are doing right now, everything is based on data, right? So this is a very we have 2 degrees basically. One is data science and one is business informatics. What makes business informatics a little more it gives you more adaptation into the industry is because it mixes and merges business with informatics. I'm sorry, with data. So it makes you, it empowers you to be someone who can make in a very in single sentence. It empowers you to be a business person who makes decisions using data. In a nutshell. So it is a degree that gives you business intelligence, it gives you data analysis, it gives you risk tiering, it gives you operational integrity, it gives you so many things that are all tied together. So when you speak of banking, blockchain, Bitcoin, um, cybersecurity, as in financial cybersecurity, um, customer management, marketing, whatnot, where you rely on data, and data, again, as Praneeth mentioned, is the fuel of business. That's where it empowers you. So I would agree with Praneeth on that. It is the degree of the future. And where we would also, for those people who are hardcore techies, we wouldn't want to miss out on courses like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cloud computing, where these sort of courses are robotics. These are the ones which will all be covered in BIT. Also being run by the technology faculty. but in conjunction with business, where you get exposure to all these technologies of the future. So one thing we are very proud of is we are not thinking of just now and now only. We are thinking about what empowers you for the next 5 years so that you are industry ready.
Absolutely. I think in a world that's going to be largely conquered and dominated by machines, and with the human aspect of most jobs shrinking, I think it's very important for you guys to know that the choice of course is going to be one essential uh, decision that shapes the course of your future career. So the more progressive courses like automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, the more of these on your electives or on your majors list, the more uh, you are trying to future proof your life in Australia or any part of the world for that matter. Just at
Yeah.
this point, which courses are open for me after BCA? So, Debangan, you've got Bachelor of Engineering, you've got Robotics and Artificial Intelligence, you've got Network and Software Engineering, you've got Bachelor of Software Engineering, you've got Bachelor of Information Technology, and you've got Bachelor of Business Informatics, all open for you, right? And then so Bachelor of Engineering can actually allow you to take a multiple elective options also, out of which you can choose between robotics and artificial intelligence or network and software engineering. Also, for some of you who asked about scholarships, Upasana is going to give you a little bit of more perspective on how much do you need to be scoring in order to get at least 7 to 8,000 Australian dollars waived off from your fee.
Yeah. So we have two tiered scholarships here. One is the 10% one. So if you score a 70% in your Chandigarh University component, which is an aggregate after your 2 semesters get over, you get entitled to a 10% scholarship that will come with your offer. You do not need to apply for it separately. When you apply, we assess you at the offer stages. We deduct a 10% on your annual fees, which would be in the 27,000 to the 30,000 range generally. We would deduct it from that and give it to you on the offer. Okay. So that is subject to getting 70% in your Chandigarh universities, right? The second is the 85% cutoff. So if you score anything with 85 or above, then you get a 20% directly slashed off your net, your total fee. And these scholarships run for the entire duration of your program. So if you're doing a 3-year program or you're doing a 4-year program, it's going to run through the entire duration. Even if these scholarships change, go up, go down in the course of your program running, but it doesn't matter. It will continue to be what it was offered to you right in the beginning.
Absolutely. Just now is a good time for you guys to ask us about any questions, any queries that you have. I'll also request Upasana to talk about the admission criteria. And just for most of you who asked, IELTS at this point is not an admissions criteria because you're spending the year in India. You can cover IELTS throughout. You can cover the IELTS module throughout the year with us, and finally have your IELTS score ready before you transition on campus at the end of 1 year. So you've got complete 12 months of a flexible time period to study your IELTS with us. We give you the IELTS module as a part of the curriculum. The second thing is, I think, to give you a general perspective, I think Upasana would agree with me here that studying in Australia would at least mean about 90 to $100,000. That's almost 56 to 60 lakhs of rupees for all 3 years. And with us, I think with the excessive amount of scholarship and your first year's fee being waived off by almost 90%, your total cost of education comes down to about 30 lakhs. So that's almost 50% of what you're going to be spending if you're going to study to any good Australian university in general. So almost 50% less value, 3 years of work visa, and you get a normal, proper Australian University of Canberra 3-year bachelor's degree which entitles you to 3 years of PSW and a great amount of opportunities for work, for internships, and of course you can apply for PR. The PR setup in Australia is point based, so your bachelor's degree gives you certain points, your work experience gives you certain points, especially if you have 3 years of work experience, you're going to get better points. Your IELTS general exam score gets you some points. Your
And
age,
your age. Yeah.
your yes, so your age is going
And
to,
the regionality in itself gets you points,
of course.
because we have the regional sponsored scheme, the 491, the 485, all these visas are dependent on regionality. So they add points if you are from the regional area.
Just at this point, would want to pick up on one of the doubts, Upasana. What if you're not from Chandigarh University? So you don't have to be from CU.
Yeah.
You have to enroll with us after your grade 12 if you've got a minimum of 50% in your marks. In grade 12, you can enroll with us. UpGrad's platform would actually deliver the CU curriculum uh, with which you can complete the first set of 24 course credits for you to successfully transfer to the University of Canberra campus in the second year. So CU is our academic delivery partner. They are the university with which Canberra is tied up, and the education or the academic curriculum of year one gets delivered on UpGrad's platform. We are the CU faculty. That's the concept. Please give insight on master's degree. Well, everybody who's here for masters, I'm just going to give you my email address. You can always write to me if you've got anything that you ideally want us to help you for. Ms. Shah, I think you can take us through some of the other things that you may have on your slides while I wait for a couple of more questions.
I think, Praneeth, we've covered everything, but I think the only thing that we just wanted to put out there was the entry criteria for transfer to UC. So Praneeth has already talked about it. Your entry into first year Chandigarh University will not require special proficiency English. You get into the first year of Chandigarh with your scores in year 12. Then after that, during the course of your program, you need to maintain two things. One is a 60% or a CGPA of 6 in your first year. If you want a scholarship, obviously it starts at 70%. And doing your IELTS or your PTE exam. For IELTS, you need to get a score of 6, no band below 6 in your first year, and you can use that score to get into the second year this thing, and plus it'll also be required for your visa. In case of PTE, you will be requiring a 50 and 50. So 50 overall and no individual band below 50. The last point in there is about GTE. So that's basically a visa process thing where we look at your statement of purpose, your academics overall, and your funding. So upGrad is, again, proficient in handling that for you. They will be advising you on what financial requirements and all the other requirements of the GTE aspect. They have a very strong team who does that, and you don't need to worry about it. They will also handle your application on your behalf. The application fees, UC doesn't charge any fees. upGrad will handle your application. They will be doing everything for you and advising you on the process. And the average turnaround for this would be from the day you apply at UC would be about a week or 10 days. So you should be all set to go within 10 days. You get your COE and then you apply for your visa. upGrad will also be assisting you in doing that.
Absolutely.
As well. Yeah. So that's what it is. Another point.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Another point I just wanted to mention is that if you are somebody, and because I'm seeing a lot of questions here, and Praneeth has also said that before, if you are someone who is not fitting into the Chandigarh University, the whole pathway thing, you can still look at direct recruitment into UC, and upGrad handles that as well. Praneeth has shared his email ID with you. Feel free to reach out to him. You don't have to get disappointed only because you are not somehow fitting into the Chandigarh University pathway, you can still look at coming into UC directly. We do offer programs in arts, in the Faculty of Arts, which include humanities and architecture and design as well. And we do education, and we do health. And health is non-MBBS, only the paramedical stuff, physiotherapy, nursing, um, occupational therapy, pharmacy, etc., etc. UpGrad can help you with all of that as well. So there is a direct recruitment channel. If you're looking to use that, you can still get in touch with UpGrad and still come to UC. So it doesn't have to be only via the Chandigarh University pathway. Although in this current seminar, that's what we're talking about, but feel free to get in touch. The other thing is also for, I did see a question on masters. Again, this is an undergraduate seminar because of the pathway that we're talking about, but we do have master's program in all of these disciplines that we spoke of: health, education, arts, IT, business. We do have a range of master's programs. You can get in touch with UpGrad for that as well. And they would be happy to, if you meet all of the criteria, they'll be communicating with us. If you meet all those the criteria, they would be happy to put in an application for you. I guess that's the presentation bit is sorted. I can see some questions, Praneeth, if you want me to answer anything.
Yeah, so
I'm seeing Inderpreet Singh ji on top, Mr. Inderpreet Singh. Am I at the right place?
yeah, so he normally asked about masters. So just want everybody else to know that if you guys have got any doubt on any master's degree, I've given you my email address. We have options in Australia. We have options, of course, like Upasana mentioned, in Canberra. Canberra is a partner, so any course that you like at the University of Canberra, as long as you're um, very well aware and familiar and you like the university, you can always let us know which course you like, and we'll help you get through with your admission process at Canberra. We've got a master's degree in Canada, we've got them in the US, we've got them, of course, in Australia, like I mentioned, the UK. So whichever way, you just have to let us know, but you have to write an email for that, and somebody from my team will contact you. Meanwhile, uh, like Upasana mentioned, because this webinar is bachelor intensive, if you guys have got any questions at all, please feel free to ask me. I'm also going to give you uh, a link here where you can book an exclusive counseling space for yourself with one of our counselors, and they will definitely advise you on something if you're looking to study abroad. Is there any way you can get profile evaluation for you guys on masters? Yes, so anything related to masters, we are fully capable and equipped to be doing that. We've got a large team who can assist you with uh, any master's degree that you're looking for in and outside Australia. We handle your applications, we can handle your visas, all the necessary student support services are given. So we will definitely help you with it. Uh, just help us get in touch with you. You can write an email to me, putting your contact details there, and we can definitely get in touch with you there. At this point, I think we're pretty much done. Ms. Shah, it was a pleasure to host you. Very grateful to you for giving us your time. I think Canberra is one of my favorite university to talk about to every prospect that I normally meet. I think one that uh, they take care of every aspect that's the most important to any student when it comes to building their life and building a robust career for themselves in Australia, including the length of post-study work visa, the accelerated PR with your regional points, the the extortionate amount of diversity that um, you have with your courses, and the progressive curriculum that you have, plus your internships and your WIL. I think, and of course, one, it's a very lucrative part of Australia where building your life, building a good work profile to begin with is extremely easier for most students who are looking to jumpstart good life in Australia. So thank you very much. I'm sure that the entire space was very helpful to students.
Thank you, Praneeth. We welcome all of the students here. We encourage them to apply, experience a great university, experience the great Australian lifestyle. Just one point I wanted to add there, and which we really pride in, is Australia for the last 30 odd years, whenever they started getting students, cities like Melbourne and Sydney got absolutely flooded at that point. So there is a tendency where you'll find a lot of pockets, where there's a concentration of Indians or there's a concentration of, but in Canberra, that doesn't happen. Canberra is a really diverse place in reality. When you step into Canberra, that's something you find. And that's something you see in the university. We have about 150 nationalities who are on campus at this point, and we are really proud of that statistic. So every class has a very diverse environment, people coming from all cultures, all walks of life, languages, different cultures, different genders. It's really beautiful. It's something that we really pride ourselves in. We are also we are also a university who has been ranked the highest in terms of equality, and we are very proud of that. So it is a genuine multicultural environment that we speak about. Because what I personally feel, if I'm a parent or if I'm a student, is when I'm spending a relatively large amount of money, I am not only looking at the education I can get anywhere. I'm looking for an experience, and the experience comes. The foreign education gives you an experience in terms of interacting with people from all cultures, and making friends for life, essentially. So that is where the niche lies. So you have a world-class city who's a capital of a country. Any Delhiites in here would understand where, when you're located in the capital, you enjoy a certain range of benefits. And that's what comes with Canberra as well. So Canberra for you is essentially as Delhi's to India. And then you get this whole multicultural thing, not only Australians, but you get people from all over the world, that you get to interact with and really genuinely enjoy that multicultural atmosphere. There is a multicultural event that happens every year in Canberra, and then there is a Floriade festival. So Canberra in itself as a city celebrates its life a lot. And that is a unique experience that, we welcome you to come and see, share this experience with us. And of course, in the bargain, build a career for yourself and a life. Thank you.
Absolutely. I would also want to thank all the learners for having joined this space. I think I hope we could create some value for you. And for any questions or unanswered or unresolved doubts that you may have, I'm dropping my email address. Please feel free to write to me at any point, and we will definitely help you, whether it's for bachelor's or master's. Um, and I hope for the most part, for any pertinent concerns, we were able to answer your questions. And Suraj, we'll make sure that we send all of you the recording. Yes, so you can obviously access. And if there's anybody who wants a copy of the slide deck, please feel free to email me. I'll make sure that we can share the deck with you, or any appropriate amount of information that you may need. Thanks, everybody, and we wish you a great evening.
Sure.
Mishat,
thank you.
Grateful to you.
Thank you, Praneeth. Thank you, Team UpGrad. Thank you, students. Thank you for coming and sharing your time, and happy Republic Day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Upasana. Bye.